Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, here for our Week 1 college football review, a reaction to all of the top 25 teams who were in games this weekend, and maybe this will be a new series. I know I say that a lot on this channel, and we start something that we don't end up finishing, but I'm here to change that. This football season is going to be big for us. We're going to hit the content hard. I'm talking like a video per day, so make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're liking these, and commenting, guys. I want to talk to you guys. I want to build a community, so chime in with your opinions. Call me out if I'm wrong. Congratulate me when I'm right. Let's have fun. We're going to talk about winners this week, losers this week, and teams that really did not move the needle for me. We'll start with the losers. Obviously, Florida State did not lose this week. Okay, they played in week 0 in Dublin, Ireland against Georgia Tech, and they lost to a lot of people's surprise, mine included. Georgia Tech looked good, and they looked good even again this week. We'll watch Florida State play on Monday, so tomorrow, for their second game. Really wonky schedule to get started, but it will work out. We're going to mark them as a loser, even though they did technically play week 0. NC State plays a game against sort of an in-state rival. I don't think you can really call it that, but that's what we're calling it. And even though it was probably Western Carolina's Super Bowl and they were very prepared for it, NC State came out flat. This is a team who has been known for their defense, especially at home, and kind of fell off last year at the end of the year, and it doesn't look like they have fixed a lot of those issues, allowing 21 points to this team. But they do have a very big game, a ranked game next week, I believe, at Tennessee or at Texas, one of those orange tea teams. My thought is maybe they don't want to tip their hand, and they don't want to do too much in terms of play style, scout, things that Texas or Tennessee can scout. So I'm going to put it in the comments who they're playing next week and correct my error, because I'm not stopping this video. I already stopped this video because my kid was downstairs screaming because she got put in timeout because she smacked the dog. We don't smack dogs around here. Speaking of smacking dogs, Clemson could not smack the Georgia Bulldogs worth a lick, okay? 3 points. Dabo Swinney's time, his days, I don't know. Maybe they're numbered. I got to turn this light on. I realize I'm a little dark. I'm a little flustered. We're doing it, guys. We love the content. They didn't look great. Offense looked bad. Cade Klubnik did not look like a quarterback who has been practicing all offseason. Again, it's against Georgia, so that may be unfair to say because of the competition. I know they'll rebound. I know they'll get it together, but I still think they were a loser from this week. What was Oregon doing? This is a team that moves from the Pac-12, comes to the Big Ten, and gets Dylan Gabriel in the transfer portal and is ranked number 3. They pay Idaho how many millions of dollars so they could come beat up on them? And they won by 10. They scored 24 points. This is an offense that's supposed to be putting up 40 and 50 points a game. And they have Idaho. I couldn't even tell you Idaho's mascot, okay? That's how little, small, and insignificant this school is. And it's 24-14. They're a loser this week. Michigan may not be fair, but if you look at the box score, it wasn't until the fourth quarter that Michigan really got it going. I wasn't sleeping on Fresno State. I, in fact, called Fresno State plus 21.5, luckily, because the game closed at like 19-20. So you got to get that number early to get the win, which we did. I'm thankful for that, and they scared me at the end. Michigan did with a pick 6 return. I don't know. I'm not going to acknowledge Michigan until they get the hammer brought down on them. Arizona did score 61 points, and you're probably thinking, how does a team score 61 points and they're in your losers of the week? Well, that's simply because they let New Mexico come in and put up almost 40 on them. Maybe Arizona won't have a problem because their offense will be able to do whatever it needs to do against anyone, and they'll put up 60, 70 points a game, and their defense won't matter. But I'm afraid that their defense, or lack thereof, will matter in the coming days. Here are the mid teams of the week. A lot of these are just teams who came in, did what they needed to do, and didn't really affect my mindset on them. Missouri, Kansas, Texas, Ohio State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Utah, and Tennessee all did what they need to do. In terms of the game I actually watched, I watched all the Ohio State game. Again, another team that started slow. That's week 1. That's just what happens. I think they will be fine. I think Will Howard will be fine. I think the weapons they have will all come to play in the coming weeks. So I'm not worried about it. Everybody else, 40 and 50 point wins. What do you expect, okay? But here are the true winners of this week. We'll start with Georgia. Having the ranked opponent in Clemson come in and just shutting them out, essentially, is definitely something that's going to get you in the winners column. Ole Miss, You tell me a team has 76 points, you think it's going to probably be evenly distributed across the quarters? No. You take out the fourth quarter, they scored 73 points. They scored 73 points in 3 quarters. Okay? I don't care who it was. I don't care if it was against that team, that Bishop team with fake players, okay? I don't care who it was against, all right? They scored 70 points. That's a winner for me. Miami, watch out. Watch out. Cam Ward has got some magic in his pocket, okay? Got some magic rocks, all right? He's aligned his chakra with whoever it needs to be aligned with, because Gainesville is not the easiest place to play, and he went in there, in-state rival again, and put up 41. So keep your eye on Miami. Alabama, again, you may say, well, they just did what they needed to do. It's Western Kentucky. I get that, but they were 30-point favorites, and they win by 63. They looked darn good doing it, defensively and offensively. There were times where Western Kentucky was driving, and you're putting a dent, and Alabama hunkered down, got turnovers, so good on them. Penn State was like a 7-point favorite. Came in and handled West Virginia by 22. Game was a little weird. Halftime came and there was a storm, so it kind of maybe threw off some of these teams. I don't like Penn State. I don't have anything nice to say about them, but I will congratulate them and give credit where credit is due. And finally, Notre Dame. I was of the pool who was high on Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, but in this game, I was worried. I thought Texas A&M was going to win this game simply because Mike Elko knows Riley Leonard and was going to be able to game plan around his ability at quarterback. That was not the case, and it took until the third and fourth quarter to, have anything happen. 17 total points in the fourth quarter, and we didn't have. We had 20 until then, right? So I fell asleep, to be honest. And I woke up, I saw it was a 10-point game. So good for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame will be in the college football playoff, and we will talk about this after this slide because this game is tonight, USC and LSU, and I think LSU wins and wins big, rather big. The spread is 3.5, 4 at some shops. I think we're talking 6 to 7 minimum, okay? So I like LSU tonight. Let's talk about the college football playoff and my projections right now. Week 1, it's early, but we'll talk about it. The committee is still going to rank all teams, top 25 teams throughout this year, okay? 12 teams will make the playoff. The 5 highest-ranked conference champions plus the 7 next highest-ranked teams. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 to 4 and receive first-round byes, which I'll show you in a second. The remaining teams, including the 5th conference champion, will be seeded 5 to 12. Non-conference champions and independents like Notre Dame, ranked in the top 4, will be seeded beginning at 5. Because of this, the seeding 1 through 12 could look different. So this is a mess. We're going to talk about it. My wife came up here right before I was going to record, and she goes, "Are you going to fix that?" I said, "Fix what?" She said, "It's a mess." I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, why is all that stuff marked on it? I said, "Because, you got to see like this." Like I was taking screenshots of that. And she was like, "Oh." So I took that to mean that next week I should probably actually just get the logos and take a little more time to set it up. But I didn't do it this week, so I apologize. Okay, here are the conferences over here. My expectation is that Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, Kansas State, and Coastal Carolina win the conferences and receive the top 5 seeds. I know that's crazy, okay? And maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. We'll start with Georgia. I think that's an obvious one. I think it's an obvious 1 seed. I think they'll be fine this year. I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten, especially with how poor Oregon looked this weekend. Kansas State may be a shock in the Big 12, but I think the Big 12 is a fair... I think it's easier than maybe it looks, and I'm not so sure that Utah has what it takes, okay? So that's my stance right now in week 1. It's probably going to change. ACC, I was so impressed with Miami that I'm not worried about the teams like Florida State that could end up overtaking them. I'm going to lock in Miami. And then finally, you have to find another conference champion from one of these, smaller conferences. And with Coastal Carolina being a 1.5-point underdog on the road at Jacksonville State, coming in and winning by like 30, putting up 50 points, let's give them credit. This is going to change next week. I'm not likely to have Coastal Carolina in my top 12 teams at the end of the year, but let's have some fun. And if I'm right, I'm going to come back to this video, and you better too, and show your friends that you heard it here first from the Green Beans Go channel. So these would be your top 4. Coastal Carolina gets the 5. My other teams in, I think Oregon does turn it around, does what they needed to make the tournament. Texas, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Alabama, LSU, and Penn State. Probably my wildest prediction right now, besides Coastal Carolina, is Ole Miss. I think a lot of projections you're going to see, at least this week and the weeks forward, are going to have 80% of the teams I have. Ole Miss does play Georgia this year, and I think they have a legitimate shot to do something. Obviously Clemson didn't do much against this team and against this defense, but Ole Miss put up, again, like I said, 73 points in 3 quarters. Again, it was Furman, but it caught my eye, and it's a matchup we have to watch out for. It's probably in 5 or 6 weeks, so it's not coming anytime soon, but it's definitely one that I think will shift this bracket. So that's what I have right now. We're going to try to do this maybe on Mondays, Sundays or Mondays moving forward, so stay tuned for it every week. I know the college football playoff is very exciting. It's exciting for me, but it's also confusing in this first year. So hopefully this helped clear some of the air for you. And we will see you this week a lot because I'm making a lot of videos, hopefully one per day for the next 3 months. Lock in, lock on, and we'll see you next time.